And at one point I thought about that dream, and when I did, the lights in my kitchen flickered, and they've never done that before, and they haven't done that since. Is there a connection? Thank you, and have a great day.
Someone in spirit is attempting to get your attention. So pay attention to it. Be positive in your vibration. And whatever positive energy or information needs to come through from spirit, you'll eventually make the connection more consciously and receive that information. So just know that something is attempting to get your attention, and stay in a positive state with that idea. You will receive what you need to receive eventually. Good day.
Good day to you, Bashar.
Good day. What would you like to discuss this day?
My first question, although I think I have been a fairly good person most of my life, there are a few things I regret doing, one of which caused some memory loss. The memories have started to return slowly over time, but they are fragmented and incomplete.
All right.
Is there a way to streamline my memory recovery and become whole again?
Well, have you learned to do something different from this experience?
Yes. I've mostly been relying on rosemary oil, sleeping longer.
I don't need to know the details. I don't need to know the details.
Okay.
I'm just asking you in general. Whatever it is you did that you say you now regret doing, have you learned from the experience and are now doing something differently that you believe is more in alignment with your true self? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then there is no need for regret anymore, is there? If you're learning from it?
I guess not.
The regret is weighing you down and holding you back. That's the way to streamline yourself. If you acknowledge that something has been done that you don't prefer yourself to do, and you have been willing to allow yourself to learn a lesson from it and change who you are and do things differently that's more in alignment with who you truly need to be, regret does not have a place in that formula. The regret served a purpose in simply getting you to recognize that it was not something you prefer to be. Once you recognize that, there is no more room for the regret. It has done its job. It served its purpose. So let it go. Yes?
Yes.
That will streamline you and move you forward. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
You are welcome. Anything else?
How can we see auras and the flow of spiritual energy around us?
By raising your vibration, which you are on the path of doing. It will happen naturally. Of course, you may attract yourself to some methodology, and if that permission slip works for you to increase your ability to stretch your senses to perceive those energetic things, then that's fine too. Trust synchronicity will bring you what you need. But the idea, again, is that as you allow yourself to become more and more of who you are and move forward, your vibration will increase, and a natural result of your vibration increasing will be that your senses will begin to see things that you heretofore couldn't. So it's just a natural part of your evolution.
What can we do to improve if we go into a meditative state, but we're not making any progress?
But depends on what you define as progress. What are you insisting must happen when you go into a meditative state? Insisting that something particular must happen is actually the opposite of being in a meditative state.
Well, if you're sitting in meditation, but you're only experiencing a dark void.
What's wrong with that? Dark voids are quite beautiful.
I was hoping to get a little bit more out of the experience.
Well, maybe that kind of experience is not designed for something you actually find workable. Or again, you're bringing too much insistence and expectation in what you think it's supposed to do. Maybe you have other ways of meditating, maybe not. But I just gave you the hint that if you explore the dark void itself, you may find there's more there than you think. Instead of insisting that something else should be happening other than the dark void. Maybe the dark void is exactly where all the information you seek lies. Think about the dark void in a different way. Define it in a different way, and maybe it will surprise you as to how much the dark void actually contains. But don't be insistent about it. That's exactly the opposite of the state of meditation.
Okay.
Remember, there are active meditations too. Are you acting on your highest excitement as often as you possibly can? Hesitation usually means no.
Right, right. That's exactly what I was going to say. No.
So
No,
why
I'm
not?
I'm not.
Why not? What's holding you back from doing so?
Fear of the unknown, most likely.
Why do you fear the unknown? The only thing you'll ever discover in the unknown is more of yourself.
I'll take that under consideration, Bashar.
You may take it under consideration for as long or short as you wish.
What's the best way to consistently contact the angelic realm?
Do you have a way that you prefer to open up to the idea of the angelic realm? What does your imagination and creativity conjure for you when you think of making contact with the angelic realm?
Usually I try to raise my vibration so that I can get into the mind state of a higher being.
All right, but don't make it so difficult when you say try to raise your vibration. When you open up to the idea, the very thought, the very concept of connecting to the angelic realm, how does that idea feel to you?
Great. I mean, I feel good when I'm trying to do so.
All right. So understand, it's not about trying to do so. When you feel good by just simply conceptualizing doing that, you are raising your vibration. Because understand the trick. Remember when we said, if you have heard us say this, that you cannot conceive of what you're not the vibration of already?
Yes, I remember you saying that.
Therefore, even being able to conceive of the idea of connecting to the angelic realm means you're already in the proper state to do so. Otherwise, you would never be able to even conceive of doing something like that. That's the trick. Does that make it easier?
Yes, it does.
There you go.
Uh,
Again, don't have insistences or expectations on how that must actually respond to you. It may respond in a number of different ways, through synchronicity, a number of different ways. So don't have an insistence and say, whoa, it's not working because I'm not hearing an angel talk to me or blow a trumpet in my ear. Just make the connection, know that you're making the connection, know that they're receiving it, and know that the response will come in whatever way actually serves you best. And therefore, don't limit the way you are able to receive it by insisting that it must happen in the way your physical mind thinks it should. Just let it come in the way that actually works best. So do it, make the connection, know you've made the connection, know there will be a response, and then let it go and get on with your life. And it will come.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's all about not trying too hard. It's just about doing it. It's just about knowing that you're doing it because you understand how physics works and knowing that you wouldn't be able to conceive of making a connection to the angelic realm if you weren't already in the vibration state to do so. Therefore, it's done. The minute you conceive of it, it's done. Then go on to the next thing that excites you and let synchronicity bring you whatever needs to bring you in perfect timing and in a perfect methodology. It will be recognized by you for what it is when it needs to be. Until that moment, just move on.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Will that help?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right.
There was an incident in the Barney and Betty Hill alien abduction case where an alien being put his hands over a book and was able to absorb the knowledge within it. Are we capable of the same thing?
Absolutely. Remember, information is available anywhere and everywhere. You just have to resonate at the same frequency as the information that you seek. And it's exactly the same idea that we just explained to you about the idea of making contact with the angelic realm. Just know that the very concept itself contains the vibration you need to be at. And then just let the information come when it needs to come. You don't always need every single piece of a book. You will get what you need.
Were the feats of King Solomon in the Bible real or just a fable?
Some of them are real, some of them are misinterpretations, some of them are for the idea of making a point.
Okay. And with your species, do you have a concept of marriage?
Not in the way that you do. Our entire society considers itself to be married to everyone else.
Oh, that's impressive.
If you say so. It's just who we are.
And as of right now, are you happy?
Always. I am never not happy.
And how do you maintain that level of happiness?
Why would I choose anything else? That's the answer. What reasons would I create for myself to choose anything but happiness?
Point made.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
Hi, Bashar. It's my understanding that I'm a precursor being. If this is true, it would also appear that I came here for the purpose of creating, inventing a communications tool. My question is this true? Was my major purpose to create this tool? And is this project considered a success? Thank you.
It may be one of your purposes. Now, you have a misunderstanding about the term precursor. Precursors are not from Earth. They are hybrid beings that may arrive from time to time on Earth and walk among you to see if you can actually perceive the difference between them and a typical human. You are not a precursor in that context. But you are part, like many people, of the evolution of humanity who may have come through to create certain things that can help accelerate that. The idea of communication devices is one way in which many people who are part of the evolutionary acceleration may assist in that acceleration and evolutionary path. But you are not technically a precursor. Again, by examining your belief systems and letting go of the ones that are outdated, outmoded, old-fashioned, and forming no balance within yourselves and recognition and respect of equality. Differences, of course, are valuable, but the idea is that fundamentally you are all equal in that context. The idea of Anima as a social engineer accompanies us many times on first contact scenarios, especially after open contact, to help guide and suggest and encourage different kinds of social engineering in societies than that society may have been used to for its history. So the idea is that Anima will also be present in many cases when we arrive and will help with the reconfiguration and social engineering of the systems on your planet to the greatest benefit of your entire population. In other words, you may call her in that sense a sociological efficiency expert.
Is she actually your feminine counterpart? And what does that mean?
It means we are extensions of the same oversoul.
And so do you commonly, when you're doing first contact work, do you do it with Anima?
And others, yes. She is my primary because of our soul connection.
And can you tell us a little bit about the frequency of first contact? Like, you've helped us understand that human beings operate at different frequency ranges,
Yes.
and that the higher frequency states tend to be between 175,000 and up to about...
Yes. Open contact will require a stable frequency above 200,000 cycles per second.
Really? Yes.
Yes.
So Are you saying the vast majority of people on the planet, as it stands now, would not experience first contact?
Correct. At least
And
not yet in their reality, in their version of Earth. They may change and experience it later on, but again, we are not expecting the idea, due to the probabilities of choices that you have on your planet, the vast majority that exists now, to be the majority that will exist during open contact. Those that shift to the other Earth will join those already there, already existing in that alternate reality, and they will form a new majority. But the majority of the individuals on your planet now, as you understand it, on the version of Earth you experience now, will not experience contact with us in the way that you understand that concept. They may
now,
experience other things.
when you say contact with you, are you talking about the Sasani beings, or are you talking about Pleiadian and other
There is a
species?
range. There is a range. Some may experience every variation you can imagine. Some will not experience us at all.
So if you're on the Earth now where you can see the other realities, the negative ones that are happening on the planet, but you're seeing it through the glass wall in that sense, will that be the case for those who experience contact where they can see so many divergent realities?
Some may be capable. For some, it will simply not be relevant for them to perceive it that way. It depends on the individual and the theme that they are exploring and what they will do with that.
Do you expect then that large segments of the population would literally disappear from the reality of those that are going to have contact?
Yes.
Okay, and so that would not necessarily, how would that occur? How would that occur?
You are constantly shifting, remember.
Yes.
It may not actually be such a big mystery. The idea would be, just like sometimes you have contact with individuals you call friends, and then sometimes years later you simply find that you haven't seen them for quite a while, and you don't necessarily think anything of it. You just imagine they have gone on to their own path, and that your paths will not necessarily cross again. You may have different ideas about what that experience will be like, but it won't necessarily be a mystery for many. It'll simply be like people have simply left your life, have gone out of your life. Some may appear to have died, but some may simply not be around for so long that you simply don't think about them anymore, or you wonder where they went, but never encounter them again.
So I would imagine it's not an accident that we're simultaneously going through massive climate change and potentially a massive extinction event in coordination
Not
with
going
the
to be talking about anything in the way of a prediction, but yes, such things are possible with the shifts going on, because again, you're shifting through versions of Earth. So you may experience a variety of things that are all representative of the splitting prism until you make decisions to align with a particular timeline or path and other versions of Earth that will take you in a different direction.
This will probably make more sense to us as we become more and more used to the level of plasticity where the
Yes.
Earth can shift a great deal, our realities can shift a great deal. And some of the skills that we're learning right now are how to navigate
Yes.
changing realities that may let you feel unmoored or not as grounded to a specific reality.
Yes, temporarily, but it will become a normal state for you, a state you will get used to in the constant idea of shifting, because the more you understand that you are projecting and creating your physical reality, the less you will rely on the idea of stasis as a representation of stability, and the more you will feel comfortable with the idea that change is truly what is stable.
So that would figure into the idea that many humans do not enjoy change, or they believe that change is uncomfortable, fearful, creates anxiety.
Yes.
Those kinds of things is, in a sense, a skill set that we're learning, is how to be in physical reality, or as physical reality with greater amounts of change and seemingly unmoored realities without
Remember,
having getting
remember,
panicky.
it is not getting used to more change. It is getting used to the idea that you're constantly changing.
Because you mentioned when you're in spirit, you can navigate change quite easily.
Yes.
It's the natural flow. You're always experiencing the next chapter in a sense.
And you are doing so even in physical reality, since that's nothing but a projection of consciousness. Again, it's just that most people on your planet are not aware of it because of the agreement you made to experience the idea of linear time and continuity. But once you accept the idea that you're constantly shifting billions of times per second, you can get used to that idea and form a new understanding and relationship with the idea of change as stability.
So the disorientation that humans often experience around change, this is an issue of definition and attitude.
It is an issue of definition and perspective and attitude, yes. Because again, you're already doing it. That's the irony. You're already changing all the time. You're never the same from moment to moment. It's just about understanding how that serves you in experiencing physical reality.
Is part of our resistance to change the idea that we have to redefine ourselves under new circumstances,
Part of it, yes.
and that perhaps we haven't developed that skill as well as we could have it expressed if we were more clear about who we are and what we're doing here and how this is all happening.
Yes, and those that choose to follow the formula as precisely as possible will find that they actually come to quite enjoy the idea of constant change, because constant change is also the ability to constantly redefine yourself in the way that you prefer to. And therefore, it gives you a sense of freedom.
Now, I know you pretty much answered this question, but I do want to ask it again through the way that this person expressed it. They said, you've talked about how the splitting prism is expanding. In the coming period, is it likely that we will experience sudden dramatic splits where significant parts of the population who are incompatible with the collective vibration suddenly vanish, similar to what you described in the Sasani Shikana experience?
Yes, it's possible. For many people, they may choose to do it a little bit more gently. But yes, it's absolutely possible for someone to have a continuity break like that with linear time.
You had mentioned the eye of the needle. Can you tell us where we are with regard to the eye of the needle, and how and when will we know if we've transitioned to the new Earth?
You are constantly transitioning. You need to stop, first of all, talking about it as if you're just going from one Earth to another Earth. You have to spread the idea out over the fact that you are constantly transitioning. But in terms of arriving, so to speak, you never stop transitioning. It's just that you will start to notice eventually that the versions of Earth you are transitioning through, you are shifting through, will be more representative of the kind of reality that you prefer, will be rife with synchronicity to your advantage, will be joyful and constantly creative. So you will know when you arrive at the time stream of the different versions of Earth that you will continue to go through, that'll be more and more reflective of that state of being. You will recognize it, but that doesn't mean you've stopped shifting. It doesn't mean you've stopped going from one version to another. It's just that you have constantly now gotten to the point where you choose only versions that reflect the idea of what we just described.
And is there anything you can share with us about the things that are happening sort of behind the scenes that are increasing the probability of certain events on the planet?
Well, again, I and others are pumping different kinds of vibrational frequencies into the vortices around your planet to give you more opportunities to make decisions based on your preferred choices. to make it easier for you to transition without going through the idea of shock treatment. So the idea is whether or not you're willing to really look deeply within yourselves, let go of the belief systems that don't serve you, and align your frequency with the frequencies that we are sending into these vortices that you can take advantage of if you are willing.
Okay.